All right, welcome back, brothers and sisters. God bless you all in Jesus' mighty name. I take no pleasure in bringing to your attention someone who you may be following here on YouTube, or you might even have one of his books, Esoteric Hollywood or Esoteric Hollywood 2, on your bookshelves. We're going to have a look at the self-professed Orthodox Christian and secret society researcher J. Dyer today. He naturally came to my attention in his work due to overlapping research interests. And so it came as a surprise, not really, when I found out that we might have another case of the fox guarding the henhouse, as usual. Like we've not seen that one before, right? So Jay Dyer, he's the host of Jay's Analysis podcast, Esoteric Hollywood. He's also a regular contributor to 21st Century Wire, Soul of the East, and the Espionage History Archive. That he has appeared as a guest on Coast to Coast AM is probably a pretty big red flag for me, but that's not why we're here. One of the things that I've been drawn to in my research is to pay less attention, especially initially, to words and professed outward beliefs, and more attention to the signs and symbols that a person may utilize.
Going against, again, God's anointed. That's why God says, touch not mine anointed. Speaking of the king, or speaking of the office of the prophet or the priest or whoever. And the same would go for your parents. If you remember, there's a pretty stiff penalty when... Now,
did anybody catch that? What just happened there? Anybody who's been watching my channel for a bit will have made an observation. Let's rewind.
Go for your parents. If you remember, there's a pretty stiff penalty.
Very interesting. He's striking the Masonic penalty pose, and also says penalty.
Pretty stiff penalty.
With a little one-eyed wink for you. Secret societies use sign language to communicate with one another in plain view of everyone. This surely can't be a fact that's lost on someone like Jay, who we're going to be looking at today, as he has literally dedicated his academic career to exposing the occult and intelligence connections in Hollywood and the history of secret societies in general. He knows very well how they communicate. In fact, he includes many of the signs and symbols that they do communicate with their hands on his book covers. So what we're going to be looking at today is kind of curious. It's almost as though I feel like we're all being kind of gaslighted and punked. So let's just dive right in. This all first kind of came to my attention in this broadcast. You know, the topic is Hidden Hollywood Satanic Symbols in Movies, Jay Dyer versus Mr. Atheist debate. And, well, let's just go ahead and play for you what's going on here. And this will be sort of our starting point. This is when I first, not exactly when I first started to have some questions, but it's when I realized, all right, what's going on here?
And I also am writing a book called Esoteric Hollywood, which the thesis is that Jay is a member of the Illuminati and has only written the first book to cover what the Illuminati is really up to.
Yes, and this would be clipped. This is clipped out as proof right here. If you do that,
but, confirmed.
You know what just happened right there?
Yeah, actually, it will be clipped out as proof. So let's go over to his Instagram account, actually. And what I'm not going to go over today in today's video is how if you go to his YouTube channel and you watch a few of his videos, it seems as though he's giving decent information, well referenced information even. But you'll notice throughout that there's a lot of interesting hand signs and even facial expressions that he makes throughout a lot of them that have come up on the radar many times. But we're going to look at his Instagram account because it's really the most instructive. And you often find that these folks, especially when they're sort of an agent provocateur or someone who seems to be on the side of truth-telling, they have to give tells and signs to others out there who may think that they're an enemy to realize, I see. I know who you're working for, so no big deal. So as we go down here, we're going to go ahead and click here just to show you this is his girlfriend. That's going to come into relevance a little later as we see some of the symbolism that she throws up in a photo with him. But I really want to start right here. He captioned this, rap game got me my first Bentley platinum album, yada yada yada. But we see him throwing up some of the signs and symbolism that I cover a lot here on this channel. It's Osiris risen. It's important both in Freemasonry and some of the secret societies like the OTO, which Jay covers. He has full knowledge of both of these organizations and groups. And so it's just very curious. Why would you, why, unless you were meddling or trolling, throw up mixed messages and things which would cause confusion for those who are trying to look to you as a source of information. And also, obviously, with the devil horns. I often find that, they throw up that when somebody is on supposedly the side of truth-telling, especially when you go to a platform like Instagram, you'll notice that they throw up interesting things onto their social media without a context, because this doesn't, he didn't caption it or anything else, which sort of has like a double meaning. Number one, from a Christian standpoint, if I were coming to him for Christian instruction or guidance, regardless, I'd have a little pause. It's sort of, why did you throw this up here at all? So, but that's, again, we're just that, not sure we'd be here doing this video. I'm even going to ignore some of these other things. It's very interesting that this, I guess this is some Saint Cyril of Alexandria. It's interesting that his garb has all this Masonic checkerboard, or Masonic black and white theme anyway, and sort of checkerboard patterns as well. I've often wondered about the Orthodox Church, just because they often seem, some of their rituals even are around like tons of skulls, or there just seems to be sort of a preoccupation with sort of darker themes. But that's just me. That's just sort of a peripheral view of the Orthodox Church that I've sort of noticed and picked up on. There's a lot of references to like sort of gray aliens as well. It's hard for me to, and it probably would be hard for you as well, and I think that's the point, for anyone to take a person like this serious, who just constantly kind of, who he reminds me of is J. Brett Prince, over at his channel, where he's got sort of a sigil of Lucifer on his face and has all these occult tattoos with "Do What Thou Wilt" across his chest, and sort of has a "We're under grace, not the law" testimony, and kind of leads people astray from my perspective anyway, into sort of a perverted gospel, which says, well, things changed since Jesus, and like those older things don't really apply anymore, and so therefore we don't endeavor to be faithful necessarily to God's word, because thank goodness we're saved by grace in Jesus Christ. This was interesting to me. So he made these posts of himself in like the Guy Fawkes mask, which to be associated with Anonymous. And let's just see, you really can't make heads or tails unless maybe you're in the trolling know about what's going on here. But it's very interesting sort of how he chooses to open even with it. He seems to be mocking atheists and folks who may be anonymous, but at the same time, again, I look at how double meanings are thrown out. And so if I were doing a video exposing an anonymous, the last thing I'm going to do is put on their Guy Fawkes mask and pretend it's really horrific messaging.
Welcome to the Void Feast.
Nice throwing up of devil horns right up off the bat, you know?
If God exists, how come there's batteries?
Anyway, you can go back there and look at all that later. We're going to keep going down. It just is very, it's interesting because if you go to his YouTube channel and watch his videos, he's obviously a very smart man. Has a lot of knowledge about all this stuff, but then you go here and you really can't take the person seriously. Like, everything they're putting up is sort of trolly, just kind of stupid silliness. You know, and if I've known anything about the other side, they sort of, here you go, he's got this shirt, Satan can't touch this, right? I remember this girl that I knew that was in witchcraft, who, one of the shirts that she liked to wear was, not today, Satan, right? And so, it's interesting. It's just interesting to me anyway. He also likes to have a lot of his broadcasts. He uses this particular thumbnail for some of the videos that he puts up on YouTube. And he says he's not into like alien conspiracies or whatever else, but it's just a very odd, to me anyway, it's an odd choice of photo to put up in a lot of your videos. That's me personally. But again, if that were only it as well, we wouldn't be here doing this video. Okay, I mean here... This is some post from the past, I guess, where Jay's doing like a little bit of Harpocrates with the one eye. He's doing the one-eyed wink for you. Again, we're just going to keep going through and we're going to see a lot of this theme coming out. He also sort of, one of the ways that he sort of presents himself reminds me of like Hunter S. Thompson. Sort of a very, just the way he dresses, sort of his, I don't know how else to put it than that. Pretty much about his choices of fashion here. We're not going to go into that there. There's actually a lot of interesting stuff to have a look at here, but I'm just trying to get to the very heart of why I paused and had concerns. Like real concerns. Okay, so here he is. I guess he was down in New Orleans. In fact, he's got a broadcast from when he was there. He wanted to go find the tomb that Nicolas Cage has had done for when he dies. And apparently it looks like he did find it. And it's just interesting that Jay's like posing in front of this thing, throwing up like the Masonic thumbs up with it. Like, I just can't, I can no longer take this man seriously. I'm no longer going to look to him for information. I have Esoteric Hollywood. But there's just too much here that we're going to see to where I just, it sits really wrong. I mean, here we go with the thumbs up thing again. So let me just point something out here for you. So this is the cover of one of his books where he's clearly putting front and center, hey, this is something associated with these folks. And yet the way we start this video is like, oh, I'm just going to jokingly do this. Really, dude? Like, again, who actually is interested in these matters from a Christian perspective can now look to you as an authority on these matters. In fact, I just am wondering, like, okay, so what's the tell? Like, really, what's the deception happening here? And part of it is probably like, let me look like somebody you can't take seriously, which is how conspiracy theories are often handled. So-called conspiracy theories are often handled by the public. Here he is again, dude, He's doing the vow of silence. Does he not know what he's doing? He's reflection, serious, hot dogs, Jay Dyer. Deep thoughts. No, Jay, I don't think so. You know, here he is with somebody in the Orthodox Church, I'm supposing. And again, like the Catholic Church, just a lot of idolatry and a lot of pomp in terms of how these priests chose to adorn themselves in that church. But we are still not to where we wanted to be here yet. Come on, let's keep going. Again, he has a lot of, his covers, his book covers here. Here's somebody in a bookstore, I guess, just holding it up. Again, look, pay attention to the symbolism that Jay is very much aware of. And if you look at his first album cover too, he's covering all the gang signs that they throw up. And so it's just curious that he's throwing them all up himself, but not really. This is actually one of the poses that I have categorized in my research on Pinterest. And here's a few other examples of folks doing this exact pose in the entertainment industry. So it's just very curious sometimes. A lot of times a photo is not just a photo. Right? Okay, so here's the first one, and you'll see the devil horns. You'll see this picture of Jimmy Stewart, this famous picture that I've included in some of my videos. He's got Marilyn Monroe doing the one-eyed symbolism. He's got Tom Hanks here in two, like doing the Masonic fidelity. He knows what he's doing. He's got Tom Cruise doing the vow of silence. So he knows all these signs and symbols. Like if he were, if he didn't want to be confused as one of them, he wouldn't be throwing up all these signs and symbols. But from my perspective, he very much wants to be. For those in the Brotherhood, for them to know what he stands for, where he is on the checkerboard. So here it is. Here's what we were going over before. This is him, and it appears to be his girlfriend. If not, it may be somebody with this man, but just hanging out. How many of your friends? I don't hang out with people that like flash up devil horns, kind of pretty much, if we're basing this purely on appearance, have a look of sort of being on that sort of counterculture underground kind of occult scene as well. Just very interesting, the people that he's choosing to pose. So we see this one here, some girl who he's giving a shout out to, who's posing with the picture, and she's doing blatant one-eyed symbolism with it. Like, I can't take you seriously, sir. You know full well what you're looking at. Give me a break. So we continue going down here. Here he is. He says, he even captions this, "No, we aren't Satanists. That was a prop backstage. We thought we would be ironic to take a pic in front of goth irony." Well, I don't find it ironic at all. I also noticed that you're doing the Masonic secret monitor grand pose that we found in the Masonic encyclopedias. You're standing in front of an inverted cross. Frankly, just not what you, if you were a Christian who cared about not confusing the body of Christ, just not something you'd be doing. And again, you see what I mean about sort of like the Hunter S. Thompson kind of vibe he likes to put off. It's just, he's trolling, man. Here was another example. We've cataloged this one, and it's actually a yoga pose, which indicates like ultimate enlightenment. And thanks to the viewer who actually put that in the comments, and I was able to look into it, and sure enough, that's what the pose is. So you'll see several of your other celebrities doing exactly this mudra as well, which is, again, especially when you're dealing with the Illuminati and Illuminists, that's the name of the show. They see themselves as enlightened, right? Continue to go down. Here you got him with this friend, I guess, of his. He's doing the vow of silence. This is, I'm tired of people that constantly talk with their with their hands. And so Jay's chilling with this guy. He's supposed to be like a born again Christian, but like this is the scene. Like this is the guy sitting next to. I feel like this is some kind of punk rock hangout where I'm waiting for somebody to pass me the bong. You know, just doesn't. It's not adding up. Doesn't feel right. Right? Not adding up at all. I mean, here we go again. Some other girl, you know, signed copies for her. She throws up. She's doing the vow of silence for you. It's pathetic. It gets old. Did I pass up the? I think, yeah. Here we go. I passed this up too. Here's another one. Given some shout out, or he's posting a photo of a couple of girls that are promoting his book. Come on, man. You know, 666 over the eye, one-eyed symbol. I mean, come on, man. This is that friend of his again. I just, you know what? And that's the thing. Like when I first started to kind of look into Jay, like it just felt wrong. It just felt wrong. The same kind of characteristics that I've seen over and over again for folks who are playing both sides of the game, essentially. And it's funny, even in the video that we started out with, he talks about like, oh, this is going to be screenshotted, and I hope that people do cover this because it'll send more people to my channel. You know, that he has like a membership-driven paid website, and he takes all these contributions, has books to sell as well. Yeah, that probably is how he views it, right? From my perspective and in my intention, I'm trying to safeguard people who actually may be looking for good information to really, if you're going to watch any of his stuff, because there is some truth in the things that he talks about, to just chew the meat, spit out the bones. You know, we're going to have to do that more and more in these end times because there's just so many meddlers and trolls in the mix. And it's tiresome. It gets old. You know, have a look yourselves at some point. But it's just, here he is wearing a Masonic checkerboard top hat, sort of like the Mad Hatter as well, with the roses on his shirt. I mean, it's just constant. You know, this man's trolling. He's trolling. Yeah, I don't want to see this either. You know? Totally mixed messages. Intentional mixed messages. Because he can't, you know, what he can't do is claim ignorance that these are their signs and symbols. So, you know, we're gonna try to safeguard, warn people, and just show you what's up. But I can't. I'm so tired of this whole reality that we find ourselves in today. There he is, Jay. Number one, again, you can't take him seriously. And he's throwing up the devil horns. You know? It just... Oh, here he is again. This is the same photo. No, I don't think so, sir. I think not. Nice try, though. Harpocrates again. Give me a break, Jay. Come on. You got the Masonic hat. You're doing the vow. Come on, man. Do these people just not care? They just don't care. They love it. Order out of chaos, right? Making you feel, I think that's the goal too, is like you don't know where to turn anymore for any kind of information, anything. They just want everybody to become 100% disillusioned, and therefore there is no truth. Everything's relative. I have a dislike for these ones that pretend to be Christians all the more. You know. Okay. So we could literally go on and on and on here, but honestly I think we've sort of covered this enough to show something's definitely not right here. It all feels so very wrong. And based on what I've seen, way too many confusing mixed messages being thrown up, which belie the truth-telling and exposures that you say you're attempting to do. And you're going to get an unsubscribe from me, and obviously this video as well. Oh, you got the bunny ears as well, which we've covered in the videos. Savage, huh? I mean, who are these? Are these people like MK Ultra, like automatons? I don't understand what's going on in this world right now. I really don't, a lot of times. Other than that, it's diabolically evil, and, you know, I want nothing to do with it. So, thanks again for tuning in. God bless you all in Jesus' name. You guys have a wonderful day, okay? If you found today's video helpful, educational, check out the videos down below or click the subscribe button. Thanks again for watching. God bless you all in Jesus' mighty name. All right, welcome back, brothers and sisters. God bless you all in the name of Jesus Christ. So I was hoping to not have to do a follow-up video at all, and really, I don't have to, but I feel compelled to, about this latest video that I published about Jay Dyer, about my questions about the fact that he's doing so much exposing of the Illuminati and their symbolism and even their sign language, while at the same time on his social media accounts and even in some of the videos here online, throwing up the exact same signs and symbolism himself. There seems to be a messaging problem here, and the reason why I'm taking time to do today's video is because I don't think it even took an hour for him to sort of show up in the comments of this video, which I felt, what I was hoping for as a response to the video, even though I really, based on, I wouldn't have made this video if I didn't detect that likely there's a problem here. But I would have liked to have seen anyway, finally, a refreshing instance or case where somebody doesn't deflect or dodge the issue at hand or try to attack the messenger and says, you know what, dude? You're right. I shouldn't be throwing up Illuminati gang signs myself while I'm a researcher saying I'm exposing these said Illuminists and their signs and symbols. You're right. I'm sorry that I did this. Thank you for bringing it to my attention, and now I'm definitely going to be more careful of it and not do it anymore. Instead, the response is, LOL, low IQ evangelicals. Yeah, I'm out here debating the top atheists, defending creation and annihilating evolution for the Illuminati. Would Mr. Atheist qualify as like one of the top atheists? I'm sure you have someone else in mind. But because that was a very interesting softball session that I watched. But not trying to be lowbrow here. But really? That's your reply. That's your response. Say nothing about what was in the video. Pay it no attention. It's just this guy, low IQ person here. I basically respond with what I've presented here so far in this video. Yeah, because I'm Illuminati. Sold my soul for a Gaia TV show for one season. I know that this is supposed to be comedy, right? But people have sold it for far less than that in the entertainment industry. And that you have a TV show doesn't really bode well. I don't know how far you really go in your Hollywood research, Jay. Maybe you play it safer and just sort of say like, well, it's not really all of them, you know. It's just there's some elements here, you know. I found it. I thought it was a nice touch that your Twitter handle has the 007 in it. That's pretty cool. Little nod, a knowing nod, ironic, to John D. Alchemist. But yeah, so that's your response. And then he kind of ends with like, you got trolled. I got trolled. You're a man of God. Expounding upon the depths and mysteries of Eastern Orthodoxy and the intricacies of theology, and you're trolling people on the internet. Really? What is a troll? What is trolling, by the way? Well, trolling is defined as creating discord on the internet by starting quarrels or upsetting people by posting inflammatory or off-topic messages in an online community. Well, it's definitely exactly what you did there in the comments, so check. Also, you just self-professed you're a troll. Trolling is psychologically understood to be an antisocial behavior. Basically, a social media troll is someone who purposely says something controversial in order to get a rise out of other users. Again, very, very godly of you, sir. Very godly behavior. Really appreciate the time you took to respond to this in a thoughtful, even humble manner. I'm glad you took a little bit of time to reflect upon it. You know, I hope you, because I'm supposed to be able to detect all of your irony, I hope you detect my sarcasm right there. So I got trolled. All right, I guess, you know, Paul and Jesus were just walking around trolling everybody. All the New Testament writers, all the important church fathers that we look to, they were all just trolls, trolling the general public. You know, I can't make sense of what's going on these days, to be honest, other than it is chaotic these days. Especially online here. Who is who? Who is who? I spend day in and day out, oftentimes on this channel, showing you how your entire entertainment industry is part of this gang. And it goes well beyond the entertainment industry. And then you got the truth community, the so-called truth community, which is completely filled with shills. To the point where I know that you guys are out there watching me wondering, what about Jeremiah? What about Adam? Is he one too? I can't blame you for that. That's the first thing. I no longer can just watch content or watch a person who professes to follow Jesus, who with their mouth, which really has no bone to it. It can say and do anything, the mouth. Professes to love Jesus, to know Jesus, to follow Jesus. It's just not enough. And actually, I feel like a lot of times when people get more and more complicated in their theologies, when the gospel's so blatantly simple, it leaves, let me put it this way, it leaves a tremendous amount of room for some meddling to occur. And the next thing you know, what happens is they depend upon people's ignorance of certain matters, and they say, well, this person seems smart, they seem learned, I'm just going to go along with that then. He must be right. They must be correct there. You know, perhaps if I were to go back and do that video over again, I would have been a little more gentle. I would have been quite a bit more gentle in how I approached it. You know, no excuses. I should have been more. I didn't do the usual God bless you at the end to the individual, the pointing out that it's not personal. And again, I'm not making excuses, but I'm just tired of it. I'm really tired of it. These just have to be, these are the end times, man. It has to be. We have entered some bizarro world time in history. So, with that, very disappointed. Very disappointed with the response. He took the time to go over to his channel and post it as well. Same comment, basically. Low IQ evangelicals. Dude, I mean, as a matter of fact, your IQ probably is way, way higher than mine, actually. So, as far as I remember, like the 12 apostles weren't exactly known for their scholasticism. That's just what my memory is of it all. But some being illiterate. But again, I'll just point out, this is how a person will respond when they can't offer a good response to something. And actually, really, from my perspective, the only good response I can see is, thank you for bringing that to my attention. You are correct, as somebody who spends this much time exposing the Illuminati, Illuminism, secret societies, doing 2-hour long broadcasts on Freemasonry and Knights Templar and OTO and Order of the Golden Dawn and all this nonsense. I shouldn't be doing it. And you're right. It's not enough. It's not valid for me to simply respond with, can't you just take a joke? Or you got trolled? No. Sorry, doesn't hold water. It doesn't pass muster. So Jay, again, this isn't personal at all. It really isn't. You may think it is. This is just simply something that I feel compelled to devote myself to at this particular time. Because the deception's vast. It's disgusting. Makes a person want to throw up. This is how I know. I mean, frankly, if I'm speaking candidly, I couldn't even call you brethren or a brother in Christ, just based on the simple fact of how you even chose to engage and respond. I brought up valid concerns, valid enough that like the same signs and symbols that you're throwing up, you put on the covers of your books. Don't come at me with this is just a joke or I'm trolling or whatever. Give a valid response. Take it like a man. Say, I shouldn't do it. I won't do it anymore. Or preach to your choir. Preach to those who have their eyes open on the wrong side of the aisle. I mean, that doesn't sound fun to me, but hey, I guess if you can get a Bentley, why not? Again, God bless you in Jesus' name, Jay. I pray that God bless your life. I pray that first of all, I pray that I'm wrong. I'd love to be wrong. But I also pray that if you are a wolf, pretending to be a sheep, that God would destroy your ministry and bring you to a state of repentance. God bless everybody who watched today's broadcast. Have a wonderful day. If you enjoyed today's broadcast, found it useful or educational, check out some of my other videos down below or hit the subscribe button. God bless you all in Jesus' mighty name.